When it comes to being a therapist, you got that on points, but you know what you need a little bit of support on? Being a CEO. Why is that? Well, let's keep it simple. You weren't trained to be a CEO. You were trained to be a provider, to show up, to serve your clients, to make sure their needs were met, to choose great therapeutic resources and align with their goals and their values, and to help them achieve their quality of life. You were trained to do that and you're great at it. But nobody trains you how to have a sustainable, a profitable business, which is why it feels really hard. But I'm about to change all of that for you because I'm going to introduce you to the CEO date, which is going to help you slide out of that therapist chair and put on your CEO hat so that you can make sure that your business is as successful as your clients are. So you may be saying, okay, Kathleen, what exactly is this CEO day? So first of all, it is a weekly or bi-weekly time where you sit down with yourself and go over your business as the CEO, not the provider, not the person who cares about all of your clients' individual therapeutic goals, but the person who was looking at things like revenue, the person who was looking at things like when the lease is due to be renewed. You are giving yourself that intentional time to look at your business from the business perspective. Now, I do like to have a little coffee with my CEO day, but it's not just about having a little coffee and chit chat. It's about looking at strategic key KPIs, or those key performance indicators that really give you an overall look at the health of your practice. Now, you might have gotten some information from your CFO if you have one, or maybe it's your accountant who's going over like monthly numbers for your business. So that's something you can look at it. But you're also looking at things like, how is my marketing? How many contacts are we getting on a monthly basis? How does the business feel right now? Is there anything that is feeling out of alignment? Those are all things that you can look at on a CEO date. Some of the other common mistakes that I see people making, well, one is just looking at money. Like, money is one performance indicator, but it is not the only one. So if you are only looking at money, you're missing a lot of pieces of the puzzle. So that should be something that you're looking at, but it should not be the only thing. Some of the other things that I see people doing is avoiding things that are kind of triggering for them. So sometimes people look at all kinds of things, like they look at their social media strategy, or they look at how many people are calling the office, but they don't look at the actual revenue. Well, that's a problem. If you're not looking at the numbers, you're not going to know what needs to change or what should be adjusted. Now, there's some common mistakes that people make when they start to consider a CEO date. The number one mistake that I see is that they don't have one. So they do things as a problem arises. So they might go weeks, months, even years without really effectively looking at the business with that fine-tooth comb. And I'll be honest with you, if you haven't done one before, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. I'll have something for you at the end that you can get to help you make that a little bit easier. But the number one mistake people make is that they think that they can avoid this and things will be okay. And oftentimes that's a struggle because you can generally anticipate problems as they are arising if you give it some attention in advance. If you don't, it's usually a lot harder to figure out. So make the time on your calendar at least once a month, but weekly or bi-weekly is best. Another common mistake that I see is that people are doing what I call pretty planning. They're not looking at the overall success and health of the business. They're looking at the pretty stuff on paper. So they'll look at when it's time to order new furniture, or when it's time to sign up for another community event, but they're not looking at how to align strategically with their goals, maybe for taxes, or when it's the right time to hire, or when it's the right time to fire because someone is not meeting the objectives. All of those are things that you should be thinking about during your CEO date. So let me give you a really super simple flow for your very first or your next CEO date. First thing I want you to do is mark off about an hour on your calendar. It might only take 30 or 45 minutes, but I want you to give yourself a full hour so you don't have to feel rushed. Next thing I want you to do is look at the numbers. So look at the revenue, look at the number of leads that you have coming in and where they're coming in. Look at the amount of hours you're actually working. If you're a traditional entrepreneur, a lot of times we are working randomly. So we're checking our phone, we're sitting at the soccer field, we're answering an email in between stirring the spaghetti on the stove. So a lot of times we're not really paying attention to all those other hours that we kind of add in. So really get a clear indication of how often you're working and how many hours it's costing you to produce the revenue that you are producing. Next, I want to look at what you're offering your business. Are you only offering one-to-one? Are you offering group work? Are you offering workshops? Is now the right time to add consulting to your practice? I want you to look at what you're actually showing up and offering to your community. I also want you to look at things like which insurance panels have been the best referrals for you, which ones are not great in referral. Who are you waiting around too much for reimbursement? Look at all of those types of ins and out things and about the relationships that you have going on. I want you to start some planning. What would you like to be doing in 3 months, 6 months, a year? What's going to be going on with your family? Like, all of those different things are a part of this process. They help you to have a healthy business and a healthy life and balance between the two. So start looking at what kind of a plan you might want to set up for your business. And then it's time to do a little bit of reflection. This is kind of your gut check for yourself and your business. What's working really well? What feels like it might be out of alignment? Are you moving out of a season where maybe, hey, I don't want to have 30 clients every week. I don't want to have 25 clients every week. Maybe you want to niche down and you want to stop working with a particular type of client. All of those are things that can come up during your CEO day. Earlier this year, I had a CEO day with myself and I actually went through and started thinking about what I wanted my business to look like. I am a mother of 4 and I am on my way to being an empty nester. I'll have one more going, the third of 4 going off to college this year, and I'll have a sophomore in high school. So I know that my life is gonna look a little bit different. One of the things that I did previously is I did a lot of work with schools and youth serving organizations, and I still do some of that work, but I wasn't as pulled to it as I had been in the past. So one of the things that I did earlier this year, I closed down my Facebook community of over 5,000 school counselors and school social workers, and I doubled down on the work that I enjoy doing, which is helping people start and grow their practices. That was something I'm super passionate about and excited about, and being able to make that pivot really simplified the work that I do and the offers that I have, so it actually saved me a lot of time. It also helped me to cut some of my expenses too, because there were things that I was paying for that were not generating revenue. One thing I had, for example, was an online educational platform, and I was paying for that every single month, and I did not have enough members in that to make it profitable. So as much as I loved the idea of it and really felt like it would be a benefit to people, it wasn't a benefit for my business. And so I was able to see that because I took the time to go over my business as a CEO and make strategic decisions, not just emotional ones. Now, if you still need a final push to have your CEO date this week, I want to give you 2 things that can help with that. Number 1, I want to give you my free CEO date guide, which you can get at the link below this video. Just sign up. It comes immediately to your inbox. It'll go over some questions that you can ask as a part of your CEO date to get that deeper insight that maybe you might, some things you might be overlooking. So it'll ask you some of those questions. But if you would love me to hold your hand during that process, I have a couple of sessions available over the next few weeks for a mini CEO audit, where I come in and I join you for your CEO date and give you all kinds of insight as to what I can see from the outside looking in. So if you want that, the link is included in the email that comes with your guide. Whatever you decide, I want you to make sure you make time for your CEO date, because you and your business both deserve it.